हेलो गाइस, थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग। 2 मिनट वेट करते हैं और फिर स्टार्ट करेंगे, ठीक है? प्लीज़ वेट फॉर 2 मिनट्स एंड वन मोर थिंग टिल वी स्टार्ट, जस्ट लेट मी नो विच लैंग्वेज वुड यू लाइक टू हैव दिस सेशन इन, इंग्लिश और हिंदी। कहाँ पे हो भाई? मैं यहाँ पे हूँ, ठीक है? तो जिसको भी सीखना है कुछ, सो मेक श्योर टू हैव अ कॉपी और पेन। वी विल डीप डाइव इनटू थिंग्स। आई हैव रिटन सम नोट्स, पर्सनल नोट्स, व्हाट विल बी कवरिंग, ठीक है? तो थोड़ा सा लंबा सेशन हो सकता है, बट ट्रस्ट मी, इट वुड बी फन, ठीक है? इंग्लिश 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 इंग्लिश, ठीक है? हिंदी और इंग्लिश। और क्विकली कैन यू जस्ट टेल मी वेयर यू गाइज आर ज्वाइनिंग फ्रॉम, just for my curiosity. We will take the questions in the end, so please stay with me in the end, have some patience, and we'll deep dive into it. What we are trying to do here, it would be think at least join for at least 30 minutes to make sense out of it. So take a copy and pen. UP, Delhi, Nasik, okay. USA, nice. Tokyo, Karnataka, okay. So Karnataka, so I think we'll go with English then. I'll try to do it in Hindi. I'll explain some things and then we'll deep down. So the structure is basically we are dwelling into what is meditation and how it relates to metaphysics, or we will talk about some modern physics also, what parallels are to be drawn and what is the goal, ठीक है? जयपुर, स्वीडन, अहमदाबाद, गुजरात. I am not taking any request for live. Please have some patience. We'll take the questions in the end. ठीक है? I think काफ़ी लोग आ गए हैं, तो we'll start. ठीक है? तो we will talk about first Eastern philosophy. तो there are meditations, no? There are different type of meditation. In Jainism, the highest meditation is called Bindu Dhyan. So we will like to know what is this Bindu. बहुत ध्यान से सुनना, काफ़ी मज़ा आएगा आपको, और it would be a very very new thing to you. ठीक है? Okay. People are joining from different countries, so I'll keep this in English to make sense for everybody. ठीक है? So what is Bindu Dhyan? ठीक है? First understand what is Bindu. Bindu means concentrated form of consciousness. ठीक है? अब मैं आपको थोड़ा सा एक डायग्राम दिखा रहा हूँ, what this looks like. ठीक है? थोड़ा सा इन्वर्टेड होगा आई थिंक. तो what is Bindu ध्यान? Whatever we see in this reality is the physical manifestation that we see is in the form, but we are saying that in absolute reality it is formless. That means it is in unmanifested state. So this full goal of this spiritual path is to know your source, knowing the source where this form means anything matter, how this matter is coming from this consciousness. What is this thing? Because I'll tell you more about this. So basically this consciousness is what is the underlying principle, this whatever is the fabric of existence, and we see only material, we see this material plane. So science deals with this material science, whatever that can be measurable is dealt by science. But we say there is a spiritual plane also. Science believes that everything is made up of matter, but now we know modern physics suggests that it's just not the matter. We also have dark energy and dark matter to it. That means there are some things which are inseeable by the eye, but that exist. So now what is this spiritual journey about? This spiritual journey is about turning inward and finding the source from where this unmanifested is coming from. Hindi please. Sorry, people are joining from different countries, so we'll take some Hindi questions later, but we'll do this session in English. ठीक है? So we have this formless consciousness and we see only form. So what is this evolution? How this formless comes into form? So we say this formless consciousness contracts and then it expands into form. That means this formless and this form has an intermediate. That is what we are calling Bindu. Bindu means the concentrated form of consciousness. So this formless and form has an intermediate link. There is a vortex between it. Like you can see from this diagram, this is formless. Okay, so this contracts into a single point. This is the goal. This is very, very, very interesting and important, and this is the goal. People say we don't know what we are meditating upon. The goal is Bindu Dhyan. Bindu means we want to concentrate and focus on only on a single point. What does that mean? That means this consciousness, what you're seeing upon, is fragmented. This consciousness is fragmented. So what does meditation means? Meditation means whatever energy that is flowing outward, we are consciously turning it inward into a single point. Okay, into a single point, which is this Bindu. Bindu is this concentrated form of consciousness. Okay. So what is this? On a macrocosm scale, this formless pretends to forget itself and in order to know itself in infinite form. Ab we will also talk about some modern physics, Big Bang, how this correlates, because let me be clear, this everything is related. Everything is related, everything is connected. Now we are trying to connect how this all is making sense. Okay. So this goal is Bindu. Bindu is that single point of consciousness. Okay. So we say that before awareness, this reality is unmanifested. Whatever we see is the material plane, that is the manifested form of it. But the underlying reality is unmanifested. That is the pure potential. We say in modern physics that these particles can have a wave function or a collapsed particle. So how does that relate? The formless is the wave function. This observation is the Bindu that turns into form. That means when how does this form means? When there is observation, this wave function, which is the formless, collapse into a particle. That is the form. So whatever we see is in a definitive state. That is the this wave function collapse into particle. Now how does that mean? It can only be mean when there is observation. That is the Bindu. Okay. Consciousness creates matter by observing it. Wave function, formless, collapsed particle, form. So how does this manifesting? Consciousness creates matter by observing it. Okay. Now Buddhism and everything, this Eastern philosophies talk about this Shunya. Shunya means nothingness or the void. This void is what we have to look after. The void. What is this void? So void is this static potential which is not yet started manifesting. So when we are saying that this consciousness manifests to matter, there comes a so from formless to form, there comes a middle point where this manifestation has just started to manifest, and it exists in singularity. That means only single point. When we connect it via Big Bang, we say when this universe started, there was a single energy. There was single energy before it started manifesting. So this single void is what we have to go into. We will talk more about it, how this observer observed, and how this when we are merging into it, basically what we are trying to do is achieve this non-dual awareness. This everything, this spiritual journey is about knowing that your awareness is not subjected to this body, but it is infinite and everywhere. So consciousness creates matter by observing it. So what is this void? Void is not nothingness. It's not empty. It's full of nothingness. What does it mean? It means there is no objective field. There is no form particular that is done. So this void is the middle point that we have to achieve. We'll tell how that relates to this meditation. We'll come to that later part, but let's understand how does that relate to modern physics. This meditation is a very, very scientific thing, and what we are trying to do is doing a scientific inquiry of what this creation is and how you can experience too. ठीक है, तो form arises from void and dissolves back into that void. We say that creation is a self-sustaining thing. It creates, sustains, and then dissolves back into it. So this void is everything that is getting created and then dissolving into it. What is quantum entanglement? Quantum entanglement suggests that no matter how far these two particles are, they are maybe even light years away, they are connected through this non-local field. So we say everything is connected. So what we'll talk about Big Bang. Before Big Bang, there was only singularity. That means there was no space manifested, there was no matter in that space, there was no time in it. Creation, self-created and is causeless. So what we are trying to do, this wave function that exists in formless collapse before it gets okay, this will be a little bit depth. So whatever resonates with you, take it, and later we'll talk about its application. Okay, so particle exists as probability wave, yani ki it exists as superposition. It can be everywhere also and it can be nowhere also. This is verified by double slit experiment. So observation, what does it do? The wave collapses to a single point. Yani ki we say the observer creates this reality, the definitive reality. From infinite position, from infinite possibility, what we are seeing is a definitive reality. How does that is making sense? This observer creates that definitive reality from this infinite possibility. Upanishad says about this bindu, this formless, the middle point, smaller than smallest, larger than largest. We are talking about this void. Okay. More modern physics parallel, string theory. What does it say? It says that the fundamental particles that we are seeing are not just particles, but these are vibrating string of energy. So everything is vibration. Science asks, how does matter create consciousness? Because science is dealing with this material plane and it sees what is observable, but what is that gives subjective experience? Science says, how does matter create consciousness? But the real question is, how does consciousness create matter? Matter can be said as a crystallized consciousness. This physics says that consciousness is integrated information. This infinite intelligence exists and which has knowledge points in it. What is the goal? The goal is to we call samadhi. Samadhi is your non-dual awareness. So in that non-dual awareness, we get maximum integrated information. That means that total integration of consciousness. So we will talk about more how this works. Basically, this energy can move two sides, either outward or inward. When we are when we are seeing this, when my senses are open, I am seeing things. When I am talking, my energy flow is outward. That means my this consciousness is fragmented. This attention scatters to objects. That means that entropy is increasing when my attention is outward. What does meditation means? Meditation means when you are turning that attention to inward. What will happen? This withdrawal will gather energy. Everything is energy. We are talking about how this energy is working. Outward is the fragmented reality. Inward is the withdrawal that gathers energy, and entropy is decreased. Now what is this bindu? Bindu is the point of zero entropy, where we'll talk about how that will relate to our breath and how that will relate to meditation. Somebody saying just reading out. Yes, these are my notes. I did my thorough research. You should also do it too. I hope you are sitting with a copy and pen. This is not a story. We are decoding something, so learning together. Okay. So pure consciousness. We, as my individual consciousness, are taking a particular waveform, but we are saying that whatever we perceive is not the absolute reality, but a relative reality. So how do we observe that absolute reality? Absolute reality is that unified field of awareness where there is infinite bliss. So what is this bindu? Bindu is the superposition of that formless and form. This is the goal. Bindu Dhyan means turning inward and putting all your awareness into one point, one concentrated form of consciousness. So observation of Bindu collapses it into one state. What we are going to do, we said observation changes reality. When we turn inward and know and concentrate on that Bindu, that same observation of Bindu collapses it into one state. That is the goal. We say this entire thing, this totality, or we call God, this is a unified field. Do not need to call it God, but he says there's a unified field. This unified field upon observation collapses into single Bindu, that is singularity. That Bindu, that singularity converts into consciousness and matter and energy. That is what we call Shiv Shakti. And using that Shiv Shakti basically means that static is Shiv, static potential, and matter energy is this dynamic manifestation of that single thing. With these static and kinetic, we see the manifested universe as it is. Okay. Now, one more thing to understand is that everything is flowing. There's nothing static and as it is. Like I can see this bottle, I can see this is static. But in actuality, this is not made up of this matter. It has dark matter and energy into it. So we say everything is flowing, and that Bindu is that still point. Everything is movement, and Bindu is that still center of that vortex. The between point between formless and form. The formless. We say either your energy goes inward or either it goes outward. The entropy increases or decreases, but we should notice that both this inward or outward are centered around a center. Like you say centripetal and centrifugal. These forces act upon a radius of circle. These both are, the locus point is the center. This is the Bindu that we are trying to do. It will make much more sense. We'll talk about meditation. Okay. So how this meditation thing works? Let's say we say that generally our attention is outward. That means this gets fragmented. This consciousness gets into fragmented. That is we call a distracted state. When we turn inward, there is pattern. How do you verify it? You can say there are semantic sounds. Semantic sounds, you can say Om. Om is what is the harmonizes with this sound of this creation. So we can see when we see that semantics, we can see geometric patterns getting formed. So what is this geometric patterns? That is basically these fragmented reality are getting into one resonance. Distracted state to pattern. When we are turning inward, we will see some patterns into this thing. That is the certain elements getting together. Afterward, when these patterns subside into one, converge into one singularity, that is the goal, the Bindu. And what will happen after Bindu? We'll talk about in terms of getting witness and watcher. We say that there is an observer and an observed. But when we are turning inward and my eyes are closed, who is the observer and who is getting observed? So when we say this Bindu, when we talk about this Bindu, this single middle point where there is stillness, that's when when there is static point, that's when there is zero entropy. Zero entropy means there is no movement between you and the thing getting observed. That's when the witness and the witnessed merged and you get into this non-dual awareness. In terms of breath, it is called Kumbhak. Kumbhak is basically there is natural suspension of breath where it's not you do not inhale also, you're not getting exhale also. Your breath is suspended. That is the point, that is the goal of how your still breath gives you the experience of infinite non-dual awareness in the state of called Samadhi. So in generally we witness a chaos because everything is condensed, everything is vibrating at different frequency. These fractals, that subtle elements we call, are the natural settling of things. This chaotic settles into natural patterns, that fractals then when concentrated into a single point with single pointed focus, at any point gives us that zero entropy bindu point, and that is the goal. That means we say like vortex. Vortex is a very good definition of bindu. Vortex is basically, this is a formless, it gets to a formless, and then again from contraction to expansion it manifests into a particle, and that's how we see a definitive reality. So this moving is, everything that is movement is Shakti, and what is still, the awareness who is having the underneath experience, is that static principle. So moving and stillness. The bindu is the merging point, the meeting point of Shiv Shakti. In physical manifestation, it manifests as a pure white light. Okay. So we'll understand how this manifests into this body. When we are meditating, when we are closing our eyes, when we put all of our awareness into one single point, and it manifests as here. This is called the third eye chakra. Anything that we see has a duality to it. It has a, it is a relational nature, that when I see myself as different and this bottle is different, that means there is a difference between subject and object. But when we talk about absolute reality, it has to be non-relational. That means it doesn't needs to be, it should be beyond subject and object. That is what we call shunya. Shunya is basically when there is no objective field, there is no form there is. So the goal is to have this concentrated on one single point, and I'll tell you by experience how it looks like. Generally, our awareness is fragmented. We are turning inward. We are locking our focus into one single point. Afterwards, you will see a little, everything is happening eyes closed, because there is nothing outside. We are turning inward. This is not, we are not doing, we are noticing inside what is happening. So you will see geometric patterns having it. These geometric patterns can come in the form of circle, triangle, anything. Afterwards, when there is stillness of consciousness, you see a single point. That single point is your doorway to the infinite. This material plane, that spiritual plane, is connects via this bindu. This bindu physically manifests in the form of Agya Chakra. Agya Chakra is your third eye chakra. So when your energies move up and all of it is concentrated into single point, that will be your doorway to that infinite. And once you do the quantum leap क्यों हमने कैसे बोला quantum leap? Because we saw that two things are connected by a non-local field. That means whatever you see in this material plane, that merges into this bindu, and it opens up into this spiritual plane. That spiritual plane is basically formless. And how do we see it? We see it in a form of light. So meditation is basically you are gathering every energy into one single point, concentrated into one single point. That vortex where you hold on into that energy will give you that ecstatic bliss that we all are seeking, the lasting peace. I'll tell you about how this manifests in the terms of chakras. So these are different 5 elements. Like Mooladhara chakra is related to your, the root chakra is related to your earth element. This fire element, this water element is your second chakra. The third is your fire element, digestive element. The fourth one is your air element, and fifth is your space element. So when these all elements are collapsed into a single point, that is your Agya chakra. So whatever we see is the duality. But when you see through this third eye, that manifests physically in between your eyebrows, that's when you see the duality, it collapses into non-duality. So the goal is to have a form of bindu into here in this point. When that happens, when this chakra gets activated, where your Mooladhara is upward, your Agya chakra is upward, there forms a single line where your energy aligns. When these 6 are aligned, this 7th chakra opens up. This is called Sahasrara, the crown chakra. So this crown chakra is by default is closed, but when this energy rises up and this Agya chakra is aligned, this crown chakra opens up, and Sushumna Nadi is a central channel in that goes along your spine. So this Pran Shakti, your life force, when your things are aligned, when your spine, that central column is opened up, that's when your energy can move up and rise and go and connects to this point. This is called cranium. In yogic term, it's called Brahmarandra. So this cranium point is the connecting link. When this is aligned, everything after this goes out of this Brahmarandra, and here it moves up and dissolves into this point. This is the 12th chakra, or the point where your human consciousness and universal consciousness merge, or we can say where your bliss body and your subtle body merges into one point. Around it is called Dwadashanta in tantric terms. That means something like 12 inches, 12 finger length above your head. So like how do you measure your chakras? Put your navel, put your this length into your, from your navel. That would be your navel center. Above it would be heart center. This would be your throat center. Do it like this. This would be your Agya chakra. Do it like this. This is your cranium point. This is your point where there is a lotus. This is called Brahmarandra. So what we are doing is we are putting all our awareness into one single point that manifests here, and with that we experience a unified feel. So this is what spirituality is about, where we are going from this form to formless. In macrocosm, we see this consciousness manifest into matter. In meditation, we are doing just the reverse. How formless goes into form. In meditation, form goes into this formless. But how does it do? There is a doorway. That is the Bindu point. That is the singularity point where observer and observed becomes one. When this happens, when there is this unity in your awareness, that's when you feel your true nature of Satchitanand. That's when you feel your infinite bliss of nature. That is enlightenment. That is how you see pure light from here. And mind you, this is not happening with your eyes. Your eyes are gazing inward. Now, some tips I would like to give. The sunset is very beautiful though. Okay. So some tips that I read from some tantric texts. So in formation of Bindu, what tips that we can use is putting on eye mask. This, when we think that we are withdrawing our energy, that means we are shutting off our senses. That means we are putting our earphones that will subside this sound. The other thing that where your energy flows with your visuals. So when you are turning it off also, you are turning it inward. That point, you put on a blindfold, the eye mask. Tighten these straps. Why? Because when you're pressing your force with your eyes, it's easier to make a single pointed awareness here. With that, you can also use a Chandan Tika to it. That will help you concentrating on a single point. So every goal of this spiritual progress, this meditation, is to realize this one-centered form of this condensed form of consciousness, which is the doorway to that infinite. One more thing, which is the game changer, listen very carefully. This consciousness basically manifests into light and sound. Light is basically what we are trying towards, this Bindu. Sound is what creates this physical manifestation. For tackling light, we saw that we have to concentrate into that Bindu. What about sound? How do I get above sound? This very, very beautiful thing that CIA declassified files revealed, it's called binaural beats. What does binaural beats do? Binaural beats is basically our ears have we cannot hear frequency below 20 hertz. So what does it do? This binaural beats gives a simulated 4 to 7 hertz of frequency. How does that work? In your right ear, you play 432 hertz. The left ear would be 437. The difference, the 5 hertz, is how you can go into that induced state. That will give you one pointed awareness. Bindu is basically everything is dynamic, but now you are sitting in meditation, you are static, and you are observing that thing. When you are static and you are seeing that flowing, you see that you hold on to that energy, you hold on to that moving geometric patterns and go, who is the source of everything? Who is that? Who is the watcher basically? That. One more thing I should tell you about this Chidakash. Chidakash basically means this infinite space of consciousness. We see this space element, no? This is infinite. That same infinite space element also manifests in our head. That's as a void. So basically, using some mudras, we are turning inward and unlocking this inner void. In this inner void, we go to that source where our subject is infinite. So, in short, all I can, if I have to conclude this, we can say when we are meditating, we are focusing on a single point and we are finding who is that infinite subject of our focus. In mathematics, we can say that if I am aiming, meditation is basically aiming. You are your awareness and you are aiming at something. You are at zero and your subject is at infinite. So you are going from zero to infinite. If I have to take some parallel from mathematics, Ramanujan gave a sum of infinity from one to infinity, and it says that it diverges back to zero. That means when you're aiming to that infinite, it converges and merges back to the one. That's when in that zero entropy state, that's when your observer and observed becomes one and you feel that non-dual awareness. This is the path of spiritual journey. And in 2025, where technology is accessible, binaural beats are accessible, anyone can embark on your spiritual journey. And what will happen? Why we're doing this? This energetic shift will give you lasting peace. This energetic shift is what basically is what called liberation. It's called moksha. So this means when you know where is the source, that's when after death you know where you have to go, because now you know the source about it. So this is basically all the essence of this meditation, where you're aiming to find yourself only. You become infinite. You feel infinite bliss, because your awareness is now not contracted to this body only, but you experience this infinite bliss. And one more thing, in this state, when you go into that universal consciousness, your breath might get suspended. That's why this enlightenment is called great death, because you will think you're going to die, but in reality you're just being one with existence. You are just being. You are not moving. You are just being static. Your static potential, you are getting aware of that. And mind you, this static potential nature is called Satchitanand. That means this inherent nature is joy. So this joy is what we are called this infinite bliss. So this spirituality journey is basically turning inward and finding that joy, the source of joy. And once that happens, there is a natural contentment, because your energetic shift goes into you with longer times. So why we say we should go into the spiritual path? After death, only you can take only your spiritual progress. All your material things will die off, but only spiritual progress can be taken after death. So this is what enlightenment is all about, and this is what meditation is all about. This is finding God within. One more thing to notice is this enlightenment process also needs grace. That means you cannot go into that unified field without the will of divine. So we say that you have to transcend your karma, you have to end your karma. What it is mean that you are when we call this state called nirvikal samadhi, the state of no mind, you say I am not the doer and I am aiming at the infinite. I am leaving everything to existence. That is the quantum leap. That means that what we said, that everything is connected in a non-local field. This is what is grace about. When you are leaving everything to the divine, that divine manifest descends into you and takes you upward into that unified field, into this state of samadhi. So this is what meditation is all about. This everything about it is scientific. It's just that science believes in dividing things and spirituality is uniting things. The same infinite energy that comes with from atomic energy that is dividing the electron proton, there's infinite energy. The same thing can be done by uniting also. So yes, you're not dividing energies, but you're uniting energy into one single unified awareness. Binaural beats, Om chanting, eye mask, tight straps, earphones. With practice, you will also be able to do some locks. Locks is basically your leak. Basically, this is flowing, no? So consider it as a river. But now, what this locks means is like it's like a dam. You are in this outward energy. You are physically making locks so that this outer energy gets blocked, and it's like a dam where you are concentrated your energy. This is what we said, when your energy is outward, it is fragmented, and when you're turning inward, you're meditating it, you're collecting your energy into it. That's what when you meditate, your energy is increasing. Energy is a real thing and you can experience in your meditation. One thing to be sure is that you have to prepare your physical body a little bit, because this is an energetic shift and you have to be get ready to have that infinite bliss. So this is what connects your material plane into that spiritual plane. If you want to experience it more quickly, people do it with drugs. You can also achieve the same state, but it's not the permanent thing. It's like a glimpse of what this reality is all about. Meaning of bracelet. It's not okay. So I got this from Banaras. It's little out of topic. I got this from Kashi. It's from Kal Bhairav Mandir. So it says when you are going to that spiritual plane, you can attract, if you are vibrating not ready, you are vibrating at lower frequency, these lower entities can attack you. So this is basically what is meant, that you will be protected. I don't know if it protects or not, but just that belief that that existence has my back gives me enough strength to have this quantum leap where I go into that state, I'll be get protected. Brahmachari. Brahmachari does not mean abstinence of sexual energy. It means you are taking your sexual energy with upward, and you are now being navel centered. Sexual energy which is in your the second chakra, you are taking it upward and you are using your navel center to go into that deeper states. Brahmachari means, Brahma means this God, and Charya means this practice. So Brahmachari is that you are not wasting your flow outward, but you are consciously turning it inward and upward, which is the most powerful mantra for elevating the Kundalini. So please don't force this, but it will happen on its own. But there are some mantras which can be used for taking your Pran Shakti upward. Two things. Om chanting. Om is the most powerful mantra that anybody can have. But before Om is basically your direct communion with God. It's the this sound does not vibrates with anything. It's a direct communion. So before chanting Om, it sends your Pran Shakti upward. But before that, you need to make sure that your energies are not blocked. So before Om chanting, I would highly recommend to do some pranayam, anulom vilom, so that your Sushumna Nadi is activated and there is no blockages here. Because then this is an energetic shift, and if you're not aligning and you're forcing things, it can cause some problems. But if you are doing your breath work, you are doing your Om chanting, you are having your trust in existence, you will make it through. One more thing about Kundalini is how this works. So there are these two currents, pranic currents that happens. This Pran and Apan. That means your outward energy and inward energy. When we say that there is suspension of breath, there is This zero entropy state means there is a balance between your upward energy and your inward energy. When these two both are in harmony, that's when there is no outer going breath and inner going breath. So this dynamic flow of breath, when it stabilizes, that latent energy of your kundalini rises. When your dynamic energy is stable, your static energy rises up, and that is kundalini. That kundalini can only rise when you are in egoless state, when you don't, when that meditation state you are giving everything to existence, and it will rise up on its own. You cannot do it. It's basically your inner Shakti getting magnetized to your cosmic Shiva. So this is basically a union of Shiv Shakti. This is basically a union of your stillness and dynamic consciousness, and this is what basically is the infinite bliss. So Kundalini awakening is probably the highest human experience that one can have, and it is very, very, very much like a better thing to achieve if done in a controlled environment. In deep meditation, even breathing also forgot. Yes, there is this suspension of breath. Can we use AirPods while meditating? Yes. This meditation is basically you're turning your senses inward. No. So whatever is flows outward, this sound is also a perception, is what's perceived by these five senses. So you are putting your awareness, you are shutting off and you are putting it inward. So earphones, AirPods, vacuum, this noise cancellation will definitely help, along with this eye mask. Can a person be spiritual while being atheist? So, not exactly atheist. Being atheist is easy because you are denying what you don't know. That's being lazy. Be agnostic and have trust in your cosmic unfolding that you will reach through. Meditation is basically not about believing, but you're knowing your inner experience. And that when you experience this infinite bliss, you cannot be atheist. Then you know that there's a grace that descends on you. So in actuality, there is totality. This is the pure consciousness. But until we experience it, we do not believe it. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Be agnostic. Trust in yourself. Meditate. And then one day you will, this ghatna will happen. This accident will happen where you will have this non-dual awareness of bliss. Am I inside the cosmos, or the cosmos is inside me? That same infinite cosmos that exists outside also manifests inside. That's what we call Chidakash, the space of inner consciousness. Aham Brahmasmi is basically that same infinite cosmos is manifesting in you. What is the simplest way to realize God? Meditation. So this thing that needs to be realized is that absolute reality is formless. So whatever we say, we name the God to be is basically mind's projection, but it is formless. We give form to it, but it cannot be measured. It can only be experienced. To name God, to give attributes to it, is basically limiting the infinite energy that it has. So basically God is formless. So you have to, but for that, to realize that, you have to transcend your form and go into that formless. This mantra chanting is basically this only, what we call this chaos, and this alignment of subtle things is basically what mantra chanting is all about. Is specific vibrations, you are aligning it to it and you're turning it inward to finding your source. Is chanting important to meditate? Chanting will help your mind to be free. So basically what you're doing in chanting also is, when I'm let's say I'm chanting this mantra Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya literally means I am bowing down into the front of pure consciousness. So what you're doing, I am bowing down. I am having this ego, I am dropping my ego, and I am focusing on the knower, who is my higher self. That is what we call Shiv. So mantra chanting is basically you are transferring your doership from me to that higher self. So mantra chanting definitely helps, and it is basically very coded also. What we say, these 5 elements, it's Namah Shivaya, and Om is basically your cosmic sound. So Om Namah Shivaya becomes a very powerful mantra. and it also helps you with grace, because when you're inviting it, I am bowing down in front of the pure consciousness, you're inviting grace to manifest within you. How to manifest? Using meditate. So understand that when your senses are outward, your vibration cannot travel through. So there are 3 types of bodies, yogic bodies. This physical body that you see, this gross body, there's this subtle body, this is your aura, and the third is your bliss body. So in order to manifest properly, you have to align your physical body and your subtle body. So this Agya Chakra, when you are into that bindu is that zero entropy point. When you are on that bindu, when you're keeping your, this is a very secret thing, that's why they don't share, but that very point, when you are into that bindu, whatever you say will manifest, because that is the pure vibration. It has the infinite potential to manifest into anything. It has no objective field. So whatever you will have in your will manifest. ध्यान से क्या होता है? What do you do by meditating? You are knowing who is getting known. So there are 3 things. ठीक है? Knowledge में what I know, what has to be known. There is one more thing which cannot be known also. The unmanifested thing. That is the source. The unified field that we are trying to do. So in meditation, you are observing who is the observer. This ignorance happens because we consider these eyes as our observer. क्या ऐसा संभव है? बिल्कुल संभव है. It is very much possible, and I am telling you, Kali Yuga is the best time to have moksha. You don't need so much of spiritual practice to get enlightened or moksha, because this it's very easy to discriminate what's real, what's not in this Kali Yuga, and manifestation happens fastest in this. So Kali Yuga maybe is bad for the society, but it can be very helpful for your spiritual progress. There are some practices that you can do. One is Tratak. Tratak is basically when you are active. Somebody asked how to activate this third eye. So Tratak, what do we do in Tratak is basically I am sitting here and I am putting a candle here. That same light, that point where this flame is ending, my eyes should focus on that single point. Water will come out with your eyes, but it's okay till you hold into that power. Then you close your eyes and visualize that single point. That is your bindu formation. So basically visualization also helps you into this meditation. What is meaning of love? From non-dual lens, love basically means recognizing yourself in others. Binaural beats are so much goated things to have. You are putting your simulated state and you are easily going to that deep theta wave. So whatever which cannot be, this is too beautiful. Do not share. Wow. Shiva and Vishnu are same. So inherently everything is same. Everything is manifestation of same energy, but it's like different cosmic functions. Shiva in his Rudra form is basically depicting dissolution. Vishnu is basically sustenance. But everything is coming from that single energy. You can call it Sadashiv. That Sadashiv is basically formless. What we call Bindu in microcosm scale is Sadashiv. Who is your Guru? Shiva. What is Brahmand? Brahmand is basically this universe. How to avoid negative thoughts? One fundamental question: who is that thing that is getting known? Who is that thing that is having this subjective experience? Who is the knower? That is the question. Who am I? That's the self-inquiry that you all start with meditation with. You witness the chaos and you have to turn inward, witness the thoughts, and then see where the thoughts are arriving from. Let's say we say that this unmanifested source, where this unmanifested happens. In between two manifestation, you see this unmanifested. One thought finished, the other is not started. There is a gap. That gap is how you go into that unmanifested source. The same gap can be found between your breath also. You're inhaling, stop at the inhalation top. You're exhaling, stop at that finish of that exhaling. These 2 points are basically your opposite points. Here what we say that we have to go into that void is basically you are realizing your duality to realize your non-duality. This basically your centrifugal what we call is basically how you center along this bindu point. So whatever you're doing, you are preserving your life force and you're concentrating on a single bindu. Do we have free will or not? You are subjected to your previous karma. So in that sense, in this present, you do not have free will because you are subjected to some limitations to your karma. You have a scope. You can have preferences. You can move around to a definitive extent, but until you are not aligned with your universal consciousness, you do not have free will. When you are aligned with your universal consciousness, you are not the doer. You transfer your doership to that. That's when you have free will. And there is only one divine will that we call. It's called Swatantrata Shakti, yani ki absolute freedom of will, that universal energy. It's what we call divine mother in Ma, that the feminine creator. क्या 108 नाम जप से चक्र कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं? 5 minutes you want to give to your spiritual journey, that's not how will it happen, because you have a lot of conditioned mind also. So in order to transcend, you have to have some favorable things in you. What is Kundalini awakening? Kundalini awakening is basically your lateral consciousness that exists as a latent in base of your spine. It rises to meet with your cosmic self. What is Nirvikalp Samadhi? Nirvikalp Samadhi means thoughtless absorption. When you do not have any thoughts and you get absorbed into your macrocosm. What is Hemisync? We explained that Hemisync is basically binaural only, where you are having that induced state of 5 or 7 hertz. That's your delta wave. That can only be experienced in deep sleep. But now with the help of technology, thanks to CIA declassified files, we can have these thing while meditating, while being aware only. So I'm telling you, enlightenment is very much accessible. It's just that you have to need the right knowledge and have trust and faith in existence, that there is something that you don't know. And when you have pure full faith in that cosmic self, that's when your grace descends and you go into that state of thoughtless absorption. That is Nirvikalp Samadhi. That is enlightenment. That is that physically manifest as pure light. How to avoid thoughts while meditating? Understand this logically, that you are not your thoughts, you are not your body, you are not this mind. This everything is a form and a projection of your mind. But mind is an illusion, because the actuality is the state of no mind, which we are trying to achieve. How to open root chakra? You do not open a chakra, but just like you align your chakras. So root chakra is basically Mooladhara. That is your stability. So if you are safe, you are feeling safe, okay, I am safe, I have trust that I won't die, you are basically, your Mooladhara is grounded. Or you can just walk barefoot on your grass. That will help you with grounding. Mooladhara is a very strong chakra, but the main game starts from here, when you are starting here. So one tip is that focus on your Mooladhara and your Agya chakra. These two you won't have to worry about this middle chakra. Only your Mooladhara chakra is root lock you can have, and this Agya chakra, and it will give you that non-dual awareness. But guys, this is very interesting. This dawn. How to manifest money? You do not manifest money, you attract money. Money is also an energy form. How to accept things as they are? There is a very good word. It's called Ratam. Ratam. I'm not sure about the pronunciation in Vedas, but it basically means cosmic order. So understand whatever situation you are here for a reason, and you're placed in this situation where you are. Accept it. Have acceptance. Have that this is part of your unfolding, and your consciousness will unfold in due time. आप कहाँ पे हो? I am in Goa. Is marriage affects our spiritual progress? भैया एक लाइट दे दो ना यहाँ पे. What is ego? So ego is basically wrongly identifying ourselves with this body-mind complex. What is mind? Mind is an intermediate link between body and spirit. So when we study about how this consciousness manifests into matter, we say that there is a chit ahankar, this some body mind complex that manifests, and due to our ignorance, due to our subjected of maya, we are subjected to some limitation. That's why we think, due to attachments, we consider ourselves as our mind, but that is not true. That is what we have to they have this sense that what is real, what is not real. Your goal should be to know. Do not think about these telekinesis or manifestation. You will have everything. Once your Kundalini awakens, you will manifest it anything like this. I manifested this page that I want to do this, and here we are. At the starting of the year, I'll show you that it started off 1,000 followers at the starting of this year. But when we say that this Kundalini Shakti rises and that merges with your cosmic consciousness, basically your mental body drops, and that's when your frequency is basically more errantly transferred into the cosmos. That's when you can manifest. So 3-4 months after Kundalini awakening, you can manifest anything like very fast. So don't do things like I want money or anything, because if you want money, so work, attract money. Don't try these shortcuts. Just focus on your liberation. Liberation is basically you are trying to know who is the entity who is observing all of it. You can put in question section also, and like questions also which you want to know, and I'll take this up. Satya kya hai? Somebody asked what is truth? Truth is you are God itself, but you are having different infinite experiences. This is the truth, that you are basically a wave in this ocean, and enlightenment is basically being aware of that ocean. So can wave be different from ocean? No. So that means there is no external God. This can be experienced in that state of nirvikal samadhi, because when you become one with the self, you understand that you are inherently the same with the cosmos. You are no different. There is no external creator that is happening here. It's just your consciousness which is having a fragmentation. Your job is to the spiritual practice is basically turning inward to know that thing. Also, one more thing, when we say that we are this enlightenment, what is happening? This consciousness is having fragmentation in order to experience itself. So in enlightenment, this you are knowing the cosmos is basically when cosmos is also observing itself through you. That's why when you have pure intention, grace descends, and once this happens, not only you get ecstasy, the universe also rejoices with you. This infinite bliss also is experienced by cosmos. So this is basically your unfolding of consciousness. And let me tell you, if you are going by science way, there are some things that science cannot explain, and which have been explored in yogic wisdom from 20,000 years, and India is the leader of it. So have some open space that we are united, and let's use our knowledge for everybody's upliftment. Can you share binaural beats? DM me after this live. I'll share. So basically, what we the 432 hertz is basically what would be beneficial for us. That's the natural harmony. Apart from it, 5 to 7 hertz, यानी कि 432 and 437. I'll send you a track from YouTube. It's like 1 hour, but 1 hour is of Mahavir Swami gave exact number 48 minutes of deep meditation. You can have enlightenment. So have this practice that you can sit for at least 1 hour. If you are able to sit 48 minutes, binaural beats will help you a lot. You are focusing it, and a static energy, sustained energy is here. All you need to do is that you need to dissolve and surrender to that one energy. That is basically how simulated Om is. They are one single unified energy. Your identity is pure consciousness. You are dissolving your ego into that one universal energy. What is binaural beats? I have already explained. I'll post this live hopefully, then you can rewatch this. One more thing that we can see from here, how this duality subject object that we talk. If I am saying I am knower, okay, and we are seeing this bottle. So in this process of knowing, what is happening? I am the knower, this is the known, and the third is act of knowing. These three things divide the experience into this subject object. Somebody is getting known, somebody is getting observed. In reality, the absolute truth is non-relational. It does not have to do with subject and object. This basically is that zero bindu point is basically your getting into that single point where you where there is pure knowledge, where knowledge, knower, known, and act of knowing converges into one single non-dual awareness. What is the importance of dreams? Are they misleading or can be trusted? So dreams are basically projection of mind only. Whatever lateral impressions you have, it manifests in your dream state. If you are going by state of consciousness, the Western psychology recognizes three states: the waking state, the sleeping state, and the deep sleep state, or the unconscious state. In yogic wisdom, we say there is also fourth state that has to be realized in the state of nirvikal samadhi. It's called the turiya. Turiya is basically the pure awareness, the existence who is getting aware of everything. So dream, what we are seeing is actually a dream between dream. What we see is a relative reality. If you are having, if you are getting worried, understand this one single point that you don't know much to worry. When you get to know your true self, that's when you get to get aware of your infinite bliss nature. There's nothing to be worried. You are infinite. That's when you become immortal. You can, you will not accept if I say that you are immortal. How does that work? If when you realize your true self, you know you have to, you will, this liberation will make you merge back to your source. That's when you will not be subjected to rebirth, and you will not be limited to this mortality of this body, because now you are one with consciousness, and after it you will be at bliss and you will be at peace. So this is the basically the goal of spiritual journey, of where you can have lasting peace. What is the nature of self? It's called Satchitanand, truth, consciousness, bliss. But this is not to be believed, but has to be experienced in meditation. This is a direct experience of truth. On a scale of 1 to 10, we are doing this live from an hour. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you able to understand? Just a quantifiable number for me. From a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you able to resonate with? How much are you able to understand? Are we God in itself, experiencing itself in human form? Yes, that's the truth. Existential crisis. existential crisis happens when you don't know about yourself. That is the basically your whole goal. Understand that you are subjected to illusion, you are subjected into duality, but this is not your real self. By logic only, if you can understand that this is not your real self, then real self has to be known. So why are you attaching yourself with your dream? Why do you have to attach yourself with the dream when you know this suffering is not real? Your inherent nature is of bliss only. Your ignorance is what caused depression, was what caused these limitations. How to overcome social anxiety? Understand that people are temporary also. It's just that you have some expectation from them, you self-judge them, but in reality they are also a part of you only. So no need to be have social anxiety. Understand that they will forget 2 days after you think that you will be embarrassed. There's nothing to be afraid of. How to activate Kundalini? Focus on practice. It will happen on its own because it's unfolding of your consciousness. You don't have to force these things. Also, I would be stopping live now so I can post this and it does not get discarded. And I would come live again right now in just 2 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A session. I am going to stop this live and post this. Thank you for joining. I hope you have a good day.